So me and bruh had hit the point of no return. Problem was, we had no idea we were headed for a collision course with all our enemies.
What's up, everybody? Nigeria here from Big Gold Belt Media. I told you I had one special this week, and it is long, long overdue. I got my guy, my brother, Roberto Sanchez, as y'all know him from the hit BMF series as a Loco. And I definitely want to make sure I put some respect on his other previous big role. You may know him as Pinky from Palm Royale, streaming right now on Apple TV Plus. Roberto, thank you so much for your time today. Very excited to talk to you. How you feeling?
I'm doing well, brother. How you doing, man? It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. And yeah, we connected at the season three red carpet of BMF. That was an amazing time in LA. Of course, he showed up and showed out there. And we had been saying we had to connect. And
Yeah.
for him and the numerous roles and projects which we're going to talk about today, right now was just no better time because with all things happening in BMF, we had to tap into the mind of Loco to see what's going on. But I want to start off because the one thing I like not only about the series BMF, but like the cast and yet the family of BMF is truly the essence of it. And I know F is for family in it, but like not only just the family itself, but the cast and everybody has really organically came together to attest to that F in family. So you being a part of this family, coming on board season three, back for season four. Well, what does it mean to you to be a part of this, and how special has this project been to you?
Well, it's kind of how we spoke about it a little bit at the premiere for season three. One of the things that attracted me to the role was that there was an element of family values, believe it or not. Even though I'm the plug and this and that, but even within that, within the words on the paper, you could see that there was potential there for a much meaningful relationship between the two characters.
Yeah.
And man, I mean, BMF is was just that type of show where, luckily, it doesn't always happen, but luckily, when you put people together, man, for some reason they just work well together. They connect. And that was something about BMF, man, was that I immediately connected with Dimitri, and then also with Terry. Even though it may look like we don't get along, but
Yeah.
behind the scenes, man, he's a great guy and an
Yeah.
incredible actor.
Yeah, yeah. Randy really did create something special and alongside with Heather. I'm curious for you when you were brought on for season three, did you have any clue they would be expanding Loco's story and as giving so much depth and importance to it come season four?
No, I really didn't know what to expect beyond season three. Um, but you are right, man. That is one thing about Heather, man. Is as soon as I came on board, um, I know a little bit about it. They try to keep some things secret for obvious reasons. So it's a little bit hard to do any type of research when perhaps you're based on someone and that person either exists or doesn't exist or this and that. So that was a little bit challenging. But what I loved about Heather, man, is just that she was very open to myself being able to have some input on the character. One thing that I do remember initially, man, and I think it's just a normal thing when you're writing a script and you're translating into Spanish. For some reason, for most people, when you're translating into Spanish, you tend to go the Mexican route. So
Mm,
there's some words there that I wouldn't use, being my character being Cuban. So I was able to talk to them about that, and they were very receptive toward that. So that's one of the beautiful things about Heather, man, is that she really allowed me to kind of create Loco as we went along.
I'm curious, were you ever filming Palm Royale and BMF at the same time, or were they consecutively? What was your sort of schedule with the two projects?
It's interesting because I was working on three projects at the same time. I was finishing Palm Royale, and then I was already shooting BMF. Then I booked another show in the middle of BMF, which is Running Point, the new show on Netflix with Kate Hudson.
Yeah.
Um, so dude, that was difficult, man. That was difficult. I was having issues with my ankle,
Mm,
where I possibly was going to have surgery. So that traveling really makes it difficult. 'Cause, as soon as you get off the plane, man, whatever injury you got, it swells up. So there were times when I literally couldn't walk to the
mm,
BMF set. So they had to have a double for me anytime that you showed me running, or even if I got into a fight or something like that. Because if you see me walking beyond 3 or 4 steps, you'll start to notice the limp. So
mm.
again, it was difficult, but one of those problems that a lot of actors, I'm sure, would love to have is to be able to have a couple of projects going on at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the reason I brought it up is because one thing I respected about you and your career is your range, man. And I think seeing the two of these type of characters drastically different, both commanding respect in different ways. And Palm Royale is such a bubbly show with a fantastic talent. I mean, we talking about like legends on that show.
Yeah,
But the
yeah,
fact that like even folks that are still new in their career or veterans like yourself as well, everybody's being able to shine and everybody's character is bright and as charismatic as needed to be portrayed. And I say that because we also have a character who doesn't say anything for much of the show, but is also a fantastic role. But
yeah.
and then you come here with Loco, and Loco is one tough SOB. You don't play with him, and you're just like, holy hell. Like I might have had a drink with him on Palm Royale. You know
Yeah.
better to double cross Loco. And I think fans will really enjoy, but yet appreciate your talent if they, obviously looking at the two latest project and so much more to go because your IMDb is really telling right now. Um, to Mexico. So I did see you all did film in Mexico for these scenes.
um. Okay. No.
Okay. You
No.
didn't. Okay. Okay. I don't know.
No.
I was in the BMF threads and somebody said that, and I couldn't
That's
technically
good. I mean,
land on
if
it.
we were able to sell it, I mean,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
if we
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
sell it, it worked.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah,
But
we filmed we actually filmed it in Atlanta, and
okay.
I knew that we came out here to LA to shoot a couple of scenes as well.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. And yet still to travel and everything. And that's okay. Makes sense. It's clicking down because I,
Yeah,
for me talking many times of you traveling between the two cities.
yeah, yeah. No, that was a lot. It seemed like almost every other week, man. I was going back down to Atlanta,
Yeah.
then coming right back to LA and filming the next day, and then as soon as I got done filming, sometimes I had to go right back to Atlanta. So it was challenging.
Yeah. And the one thing I will say about what I love about BMF is when they insert these characters that are some measure of connected tissue to the brothers, whether they are the Lamars of the worlds or the Locos of the worlds, is that we understand that these characters are pivotal figures in shaping these larger than life icons as we know them to be, which I think, obviously there's a lot of creative freedom being taken in the show, but we understand the mindset, the skills that they learned. And that's why, and you watched the recast, which I appreciate you. That's why we always got to talk about how and why the Mexican scenes are so important because they're not just throwaway moments of them just on the run and blah blah blah, but they're shaping their skills, their craft to them to become the guys we know them to be. So for you, I'm curious because you look at it on paper, but I think at some point it starts to become really fulfilling and more telling that you're understanding that like your character in these moments make everything of them to come, especially when you deep dive into these characters, that the situational awareness, which I talked about in one recap, that they didn't have it until they learned it. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
can't trust nobody. The essence of loyalty and family, even in the deepest moments, trust in these moments, all these sorts of different things that Loco is teaching them on the road. I'm wondering for you if you could take a moment to sort of put into perspective when you start to realize how important these moments with Loco, with the brothers, were going to mean.
yeah. It's I enjoy I enjoy watching your show, man, because I'm always curious about, what the fans, what they think about a particular show, man. And listen, one thing that I know is no matter what direction you would have gone, whether it's to show the Mexico stuff in the first episode or maybe the first two episodes and then move on to present time, or doing it the way that we're doing it now, you're not going to please everybody.
Right.
It's just a 50-50 thing. Me personally, I like the way that it's being done now because if that would have all been done in the first episode and now we're in the sixth, seventh episode and what was it that happened that one time? And,
Yep.
it can become a little confusing. I mean, at least for me.
Yeah.
So I think that, we tap into the Mexico stuff every episode. It kind of keeps you fresh in that moment in time. And trust me, it's going to pay off because you're going. I see that people have a lot of questions, um, and it goes back to the original line what the fuck happened in Mexico. So I see a lot of people still like, yo, what did it? What did it? And I think that as we move forward, yeah, all those questions are going to be answered. So I think people are going to be very happy as the way it turns out.
And you know what? Somebody else I want to give a shout out to because in the present time in BMF, your partner Javier, played by talented Alex Livalani, I believe is how you pronounce his last name.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic guy, folks. You may have seen him in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever as Atuma.
Yeah.
Listen, y'all two are menacing on screen together. And with that, I mean, it does create a certain aesthetic, but also it commands respect off break. Doesn't even matter what you two are up to, but when you see you two pull up, you know it's going down. Can you talk about working alongside of him, and just some of the moments you cherish in filming with him?
Um, it was great, man. I had never met him before. We worked together, obviously, initially in season three, and again, it was just that type of situation where we immediately connected. Him being Latino, he lives in Miami, where I grew up, so we had that connection already, and that's one of the beauties, man, of playing these type of roles is that when you play these villains, it's almost as if there's no rules. You know what I mean? Like you can almost get away with anything, right? So that in itself is attractive. So, he's open-minded about doing things, and I'm open-minded about doing things. So it just made the our moments together really a lot of fun. And again, he does have a very strong presence, and he's taller than me. I think he's like 6'3". So I think that together we just aesthetically we were really a good look for,
Yeah.
for for those scenes.
Agreed. Fully agreed. I'm gonna come after something else because I was about to say something, but I ain't want to jump the gun yet. Let's go into some critical moments within the season arcs. Now, the first thing is we talked a lot about loyalty, and as I have been saying, loyalty was really learned and really almost embedded into their DNA from what we're seeing happening in Mexico. But then it's tested, and then I also think there is a measure of practicing what you preach. And as we see in Mexico, well, Loco is the one making sure that they understand, like, what does it mean to trust people? And what does it mean to not trust people, to always be on your P's and Q's? The moment that business comes knocking on his door, we know that's the name of the game. It's about the cash flow. When Jay Pusher attempts to go behind Meech's back to go directly to the connect to establish the business. And at one point, it seems very admirable of like, we'll be in touch. And there was a possibility that the fans like, oh, well, Locos to connect. Whoever moves the product, he was impressed by how he did it. Same way he met Meech. He was impressed how he did it. So you're like, oh, it's a safer route. This possibly could be a change of things. This could be a major setback for the BMF family. But Loco goes and tells Meech directly, can't trust him, bad for business. He tried to come behind your back and work a deal. That right there spoke volumes on a lot of level. When you think about Loco and all he means, why was that definitively the way it had to be? Was there ever a chance that he would have did business with Jay Pusher?
No, absolutely not. That would have never happened. And I think that if you go back to uh episode 2 in season 3 when I showed up on the scene at the end of that episode, Meech and I had this conversation about where we come from and the similarities in me coming out, from Cuba on a raft and how he had to put cardboard boxes under his shoes. So that for me as the character, man, we immediately connected there. And then at the end, I'm telling him about the importance of family. And that's one thing about Loco is despite his shortcomings and the illegal stuff that he's involved in, um, I think that's a guy that you could have a beer with, man. That's a guy that you can actually have a conversation with, and you would know that he would have your back. So, when Jay Pusher shows up, my spider sense immediately goes off about this guy. And I think that was one of the decisions when we have that scene at the end of the last I've lost track of the previous episode where, we're at the airport and he approaches us,
Yeah.
That was a decision that we made on the spot was that I don't think Loco should say anything. Let Javier do the talking.
Yeah.
And I'm just taking it all in. I'm making it seem as if it's my limited English as to why I'm not talking, but in reality, I was just observing him 100%, man.
Yeah.
And I had already kind of made up my decision, my mind about him, in that I knew that you can't trust this guy. When you got a guy like this can bring the whole thing crumbling down.
Mm.
And it was an obvious thing that I was going to tell Meech as soon as I saw him. So.
And when you say he made his decision, is it safe to say he made his decision upon that sort of fly on the wall moment when they were discussing plans in the casino setting? Would you go as far as say that's when he sort of figured it out?
I think with my character is that anything that would go outside of the relationship between Meech and I'm already going to be a little bit
Yeah.
hesitant about.
Yeah.
But I understand that sometimes you do have to, you have to trust someone in order to be able to get out of a jam that you're in. But I'm still always going to be somewhat hesitant. So yeah, even before the scene in the casino, my antennas were already up. And once I saw him and that used car salesman type of thing that he's got going on, man, that just yeah, that just didn't vibe with me. With Meech, I just feel like with Meech it's everything is authentic.
Yeah.
But when somebody's trying to, just act too much as to that they're bigger than what they are, I just don't trust
The next thing everybody wants to know is what does Loco see in Meech that he doesn't see in T?
Man, don't get me started, man. I was having a good day, man, and now you're gonna make Terry, man.
Hey,
Oh,
hey,
listen.
hey, Roberto, hold on. Before you answer that, let me just get to the question I've been waiting to ask. This episode this week, we see that Loco didn't like Terry's decision on letting that kid go, and he decided to let the hands talk. Can you tell me and talk me through you beating down on Da Vinci in that scene that everybody's gonna be talking about?
Man, it was like Christmas came early, man. It's like all season long, right? I was looking at each script and I was like, I don't throw a punch. Okay, the next week, nothing. No, no, we don't wrestle. Nothing because it was like building up, and I was like, I feel we need to have that moment already. So yeah, man. So when I read that script and I'm reading and I'm like, yes, thank you, finally. Um, yeah, man. That was a lot of fun shooting that, and it was a long time coming for both characters, and
Yeah,
sometimes you would be surprised, man. Sometimes when it builds up and it builds up, and finally you explode, it can do something to that relationship. I won't say what it could do, but
yeah,
sometimes it could do something in a positive way.
yeah.
So yeah, it was very gratifying. Uh, Listen, I'm always going to say that I won, but hey,
You
listen,
did.
he's
You
he's going to
did.
say that he's probably going to say that he won, but I'm like, nah, man, I got you.
Well, Meech be the witness. I'm sure he's going to be able to claim that Loco was the winner there. But yeah, so
You
with that
better,
being
you better.
said, and you all being able to finally have that moment, you know, and again, lessons learned, because I also think that when you go back into the real time, when you see the brothers fight, they fight because of disagreements, because you know, going behind each other's back and not being transparent about their plans or the conversations that they have, the meets that they're having. But when it comes down to when you have to stand on business, when the work has to be done, they back a line with themselves. And I think that shows that measure of camaraderie. And I feel like that's something that they learned in Mexico, is that they learned that like we can get in disagreements, we can fight, we can argue, but when it's time to get back in line, we got to do what we got to do. And I think we're going to continue to see those parallels from those opening scenes to something that's happened. That's why I think the writing has been razor sharp this season, because not only are they telling a very much an important story in Mexico, but they're also showing how the story in Mexico correlates to what's happening in real time. So that still makes me to wonder, and that the fans, with that though, Loco has always only wanted to do business with Meech. And even in the real time, he doesn't want to do business with Terry. And we know, based on these legends story, that they definitely had different philosophies about how to do business. But why is it that Loco is fond of Meech and not Terry? What is it this ultimately about Terry that he's just like, this is not going to work for me?
I think what it is that with Meech, I could really see, as a character we're talking, I could really
Yeah.
see the potential for where he could go. You know, he's a little bit more of a dreamer. He probably has higher aspirations. Where Terry's character is more business oriented, and perhaps you can maybe make the argument that he's more about not taking risks and doing things a certain way. Um, but again, I think it was just that initial meeting with him that just we naturally connected. And you know, I got a question for you as someone who watches the show.
Yeah.
Because again, sometimes I feel like I want to advise Meech, and sometimes I almost feel like a father figure in a weird way. As someone who watches the show, are you able to tell the difference in age? I've never seen anybody mention it. Nobody ever comments on it, so maybe it's not a thing. But do you see a difference
Between Loco and Meech?
age-wise? Yeah.
No, I don't think it's ever been a factor. And the reason why I don't think it's been it hasn't been aesthetically a factor, and I don't even think it's per se a maturity difference as well too. But I think everybody has somebody that's close to them that has better situational awareness or more experience in a particular subject matter that they can learn from. And I think
Mhm.
that Meech and them recognize that Loco is about this life. He's no corner boy. He's nobody that's trying to establish himself. He is the plug, and everybody respects that wherever he goes. So I think that's why, and I thought this was where you was gonna go at, because I've been wanting to say this on one of the recaps too, is that Loco's one of those people that's not going to preach the gospel to you. He's going to lead by example, and
Example.
he'll tell you a thing or two, but that's totally up to you on how you want to handle it. And he's not going to
Yeah.
force it on you. He's not going to he's not going to make you go to the water and drink it. He may show you where it's at, but that's just where it's at. And I think those are the best type of mentors in your life. Those are the people which I love the idea that everybody has a person like this in their life. The person that they may not have totally gave their flowers to in the initial meeting or setting or whatever it may be, but you think back and be like, yeah, he really did put me on game. He really
Hmm.
did get me right. Like, I
Yeah.
can't believe the things he was saying that didn't really apply at that moment, but man, were they laser sharp about it. And I think that's the relationship, and that's the and we don't, I think for me as the reviewer, but I also think the fans as the viewers, I don't think they look at an age discrepancy. I think they just say
Okay.
that's a person who's established, and that's just the mentor that's just trying to learn it.
Good.
But they're all out
Good.
there trying to survive together.
That's good. That's good. Because sometimes I catch myself where, you know, I just turned 60.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm looking at him in a way that, you know, like I said, almost like a father figure. But then I got to catch myself and say, well, wait a minute. You may not appear that different in age wise to the audience. So keep it more of business. So that was sometimes the challenge. But it's right about what you say, man, you know, when we sometimes look back at people that have come through our lives, and we remember that one person, man, that, you know, yo, he was straight, man. He was always trying
Yeah.
to help me out. So I think that it's bringing those life experiences into these roles, man. That just helps to be authentic,
Yeah.
in the portrayal of the character.
Yeah. Hey man, you listen, man. You know that Latino blood, bro. You're gonna look good forever.
Ah,
Talk about some 60.
I'm trying to keep it together, man. I'm trying to keep it together.
Now listen, let's turn the page because as a fan of yours, I have to ask this before we wrap today, man. A lot of people may know you as an actor, but you are far more than just that. As a director and also as a producer, man. When are you getting back into the seats? Either one of those seats, or maybe wearing all of the hats. Do you have any projects that you are organically growing that we could be looking forward to? And again, if the answer is no, it's fine because per your IMDb, which it says 10 upcoming projects, which means you're not slowing down anytime soon. I would love to hear just any of those projects you can speak about, any that may have some type of updated information in terms of release, or anything that you're just ultimately looking forward to yourself.
Well, they just announced yesterday. We start shooting season 2 of Running Point August 11th. So we get back on that, and then Palm Royale will come out with their second season maybe by the end of the year.
Yeah.
But as far as directing, yeah, I'm actually writing something. The first film that I directed and wrote was a drama. It's like a tearjerker. And then the second one that I did had to do with superheroes and comic books, something a little bit lighter, working with kids for the first time. And
Yep.
both of those films did very well in the festival circuit, won a bunch of awards and got
Yep.
distribution. But I'm now working on, again, it's about challenging myself, man. I'm writing something called The Cafe, and it's actually going to be a romantic comedy, a rom-com. So I've never done that. But it's a beautiful story about these two people that grew up together, a boy and a girl, and they grew up together, became man and woman. They went their separate ways, but once a year they come back to no, every 5 years, I'm sorry, they come back to this cafe for a reunion of sorts. And
Mm.
it kind of takes you through their life challenges and what they've been through and missed moments, which I'm always big about is when you have the opportunity, man, to tell somebody you love them, tell them because you may not ever get the chance. And I think that with this thing that I'm writing, you're going to see a lot of missed opportunities, and hopefully it'll send a positive message to whoever sees it.
I live by that creed, so I'm 1 billion%
Yeah.
in for that one. 1 billion%. Yeah, and your short film Heroes, man. I checked it out. What year is this? A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
As I'm always keeping my eye out on the independent scene. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to
And one thing about Heroes, I forgot. One of my best friends is an actor. Her name is Jill Marie Jones. She was on the show Girlfriends, and she and I have been
okay.
writing. Yeah, we have been writing because when we did Heroes, right, at the Q&As, everybody was like, "All right, so what's next?" And I was like, we had only planned on just doing the one film, but I was like, okay, I don't know, we'll figure something out. So we got together, man, and we started writing, and now we're actually developing it into a TV series. So we're very excited about that. We've pretty much done with the pilot, and we're working on the Bible now. So hopefully we'll have some news about that soon.
My man. Roberto, I'm always rooting for you, man. You're always going to have a seat at the table. Now, we got 2 more episodes this season. I think folks are going to be they're going to be shocked at some things that are to come since I have a little idea, a little taste of things I know to expect when we go back to Mexico. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how the fans receive that. Because I tell you, it's the whole, as you mentioned, the whole thing about what happened in Mexico. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're gonna see. There's a lot to come, and it's coming really fast and furious, man. So I'm really excited about that. And again, I follow what the fans are saying, and the fans appear to be loving it. So we're very excited.
Amen to that. Yeah, they loving some Loco, but and as you said, Loco love the kids, but he don't trust them.
I love them kids, man. Yeah, you're right, man. I can't trust them past I can see them. Yeah.
And the BMF brothers, they gonna learn. They will learn. I can ensure that. Roberto, thank you so much for your time. As I said, you always have a seat here. We definitely appreciate your love and support, and we're definitely rooting for you and all the projects coming forward. Folks, check out BMF. New episode streaming weekly on Starz. 2 more to go for season 4. Check out the recaps. Get in the comments. Show love. Follow Roberto in on his social media, which you see in the description below. We appreciate you, brother. And then until the next time, y'all, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch y'all then.